when the empath finally becomes the avoidant after being hurt too many times. There comes a moment in certain relationships when the person who has always been soft, open, and emotionally generous suddenly becomes quiet. Not cold, not cruel, just distant, detached, like a light that slowly fades instead of switching off. And people around them are confused, especially the person who once took comfort in their warmth. Because for so long, the empath was the emotional foundation of the relationship, the one who listened, soothed, forgave, and absorbed the waves of the other person's moods. But then something shifts, something subtle yet powerful. The empath begins to retreat, not because they stopped caring, but because they finally reached the emotional capacity that no one believed they had. And this is the moment when the empath becomes the avoidant. People often misunderstand this transformation. They think the empath suddenly changed personalities or became cold-hearted overnight. But the truth is far more complex and honestly, far more tragic. Empaths don't become avoidant out of preference. They become avoidant out of exhaustion. After years of overfunctioning emotionally, giving more than they get, carrying conversations, healing conflicts, and being the stable emotional anchor, they hit a point where their nervous system simply can't do it anymore. Their body begins to protect them in the only way it knows how, by shutting down emotional availability. It's survival disguised as indifference. To understand this shift, you first need to understand what it feels like to be an empath in a draining relationship. Imagine constantly being the one who senses tension before it even exists. Imagine feeling someone's disappointment before they say a word. Imagine noticing every micro shift in mood, every change in tone, every emotional withdrawal from the other person, long before the other person even notices it themselves. Empaths absorb this like a sponge. And here's the dangerous part. They keep giving even when they're empty. They don't know how to say, "I can't do this anymore," because their identity is tied to being the healer, the stabilizer, the one who never gives up. But the human heart has a limit, even the hearts of empaths. There comes a day when something inside them clicks, a moment of emotional clarity. It might happen after a small argument, during a silent car ride, or after yet another night where they fall asleep feeling unseen and unappreciated. And that's when the shift begins. The empath stops explaining, stops rescuing, stops emotionally chasing. They begin listening to their own